want to have a quick conversation, a real quick conversation. I've been thinking about groupthink and the effects of colonization. So let's just talk a little bit about group thinking and the cons to it. And you let me know in the comment section if there are pros to group thinking. I am Loretta Simpson, your host. Welcome to the Be Wise channel. So groupthink is defined as a psychological phenomenon that occurs within a group of people in which they desire for harmony or conformity in the group results in an irrational or dysfunctional decision-making outcome. So groupthink is really the practice of thinking or making decisions as a group in a way that discourages creativity or individual responsibility. So let's just ask, why is groupthink dangerous? So groupthink can actually lead to collective rationalization, a lack of personal accountability and pressure to acquiesce. Groupthink is a common factor in bad decision making, and it causes a serious ethical breach. So there are plenty precautions that one should take when you consider groupthink, and consider how sometimes the narrative of group thinkers are not necessarily for the greater good of the outcome, but more or less an opportunity to control or to manipulate an environment. So if you want to compare groupthink to colonization, and I'm going to wrap this up for you real quick. So colonization is best defined. Let's look at the British reason for colonization. So the British colonized Africa in about 1870 when they heard of all of Africa's valuable resources, such as gold, ivory, salt, and so much more. They did not hesitate on conquering the land. So they wanted these resources because they needed them for manufacturing. Another resource in Africa was rubber, which was very helpful and used in making many goods selling like shoes and other items. Africa had many other resources: mineral, oil, ore, diamonds, vegetation, any type of agriculture you can find in Africa, full of natural resources. So when you think about groupthink and colonization, there are similarities because we as African Americans have not freed ourselves from this colonization mindset. So we're always seeking some form of validation, and when that don't work, we huddle in masses and we create cliques and groups in order to validate our thought process or our opinions. And I would like to believe that a part of that process is this colonized mindset and not being a free thinker or critical thinker. So as we move forward, more African Americans should figure out what harms or the detriments of the colonization of a people. What issues and harms did they cause for long term? What harms did it cause? And how are we going to move forward to get past this colonized mindset? What I see oftentimes, and it's not just in America, it's with Africans globally. There is this crab in a barrel mindset. There is also this divide and conquer, and more prevalent is this jealousy syndrome that one person cannot do more or have more than the other person. So sometimes you're working within closed-knit groups, but the group is kind of crippled because the group is only in support of one another within that group. So that changes the dynamic of a function or a program. And it's really crippling to individuals, to groups, to organizations, even to nations such as Africa. That type of thinking does not allow you to fully view things from a broader perspective. So your thinking is narrow, and then you go into a situation with an idea of an outcome. So you're not really asking for input, suggestions, feedback, collaboration, or working together. You're really saying, I formed this group, but this is the outcome that I'm desiring for it. So it's really not a open end. It's really an open end type of environment, rather more than an opportunity to discover and to do more research and to dive a little deeper into deeper conversations, into deeper experiences. So I believe this mindset and this culture, slavery and colonization, has really did a number on black folks. And I believe that it is beyond time for us to do some inward searching about our beliefs, culturally, spiritually, where we are with those beliefs. And if our beliefs are not in alignment with what others may see as the truth, then that's an opportunity for you to maybe consider some other things. I think psychologically there is a disadvantage when you have an identity crisis. So I think it's important to know who you are as an African person. And once you figure out your Africanness, you can move forward in life in other arenas. But definitely there will come a time that you will have to bridge the relationship and solidify who you are as an individual versus the experience. So you want to make sure that your experience lines up with your ideas of who you are. So I just want to encourage you that there is a shift and a change in the atmosphere. And I must admit that not all black people value their blackness or understand their blackness. And I think it is a time for a timeout to stop encouraging folks who are adults to value and appreciate and get familiar with what being African really means, because you will have naysayers, you will have people who simply oppose you just because, and you will have those who truly do not have an understanding. Then you'll have those who refuse to accept the fact that they are black despite of their DNA. All of these scenarios, I've just kind of said that this is the information. Information is accessible and readily available today. One should not have to prod another individual into seeking information. So if I'm dealing with someone who does not recognize their blackness, I don't have time for that foolishness. Either you know who you are and you understand what colonization did and how we're going to break free of it, or you're going to stay with that colonized mindset. Because for me, time is out to stop playing games with people walking around in black skin but will not admit the fact that they are black. And you do that by accepting your culture, your nation, and your responsibility toward other black people and the nation of Africa. So there's a call, there's a responsibility. If you are part of a clique, a clan, or group, that is not me. I believe that in free thinking, individual growth, and responsibility. So it is time, and I value all people who bring what they have to the table. And it's not up to me to try to package that in a way that benefits me. You are who you are, and I receive it as that and nothing less. So I really want you to consider, as we begin to unpack the seriousness of education or the lack of education, what has colonization produced, not just in the U.S. or on a global level, but individually. How has that system affected you, and what are you doing to come out of it? I am Loretta Simpson, your host. Thank you for chiming in to Be Wise. We're going to be unpacking several different conversations, but certainly this African initiative and knowing who you are is important if we're going to be moving forward. I am unapologetically black and proud to be black and from African. So I'm always appreciative of those who value culture, value responsibility. It's a grand thing when all of that comes together and you honor yourself and your nation. So to really begin to unpack colonization and then this groupthink idea to determine is it effective and has it really allowed you to be the person that you are called to be. Well, thank you guys and have a good night. God bless.